I still remember the day I met Nasir. It was in the bustling village of Al-Mazari, a place of narrow alleys, shouting merchants, and the smell of freshly baked bread floating in the air. I had known of Nasir, of course everyone did. He was the boy who ran errands for the shopkeepers, always slipping through the crowds like a shadow. But what happened to him, and what he uncovered, is something I can never forget. Nasir was an orphan, left to fend for himself from a young age. He had no family, no home, and no fortune, only his wits and an uncanny ability to be in the right place at the right time. That, however, was what got him into trouble. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the sand dunes, painting the sky in hues of amber and crimson, Nasir overheard a conversation he was never meant to hear. Two men stood in the shadows of a spice shop, their voices hushed but urgent. They spoke of a hidden chamber beneath the old mosque, a chamber said to contain treasures long forgotten. Nasir, curious and desperate for a way to escape his life of poverty, listened intently. When the men left, he followed them, keeping to the shadows, just as he had learned to do over the years. That night, under the cover of darkness, he watched as the men pried open a stone slab near the mosque's courtyard and disappeared below the earth. Heart pounding, Nasir waited until they emerged much later, carrying a single chest wrapped in cloth. Whatever was inside, they handled it with great care, speaking in hushed, reverent tones. Nasir knew then that this was no ordinary treasure. The next day, he returned to the spot, curiosity burning within him. With nimble fingers, he loosened the slab and descended into the darkness. The air was thick with dust, the scent of old parchment and rusted metal filling his nostrils. As his eyes adjusted, he saw shelves lined with scrolls, chests, and pottery artifacts from a time long past. But it was what sat in the center of the room that made his breath catch. An old wooden box, its lid slightly ajar, revealing gold coins unlike any he had ever seen. He reached out, his fingers brushing the cold metal, when a sound behind him made him freeze. Someone else was there. He turned slowly and found himself face to face with one of the men from the night before. A tall, gaunt figure with piercing eyes and a scar running down his cheek. The man's face twisted into a cruel smile. "I was wondering when you'd show up," he murmured. What followed was a chase through the underground chamber, Nasir barely escaping through a narrow passage. He emerged, breathless and covered in dust, into the silent courtyard. But he had taken something with him, a single scroll tucked into his sash. That scroll, it turned out, held the key to something greater than gold. It was a map detailing the existence of an ancient caravan route, long thought to be lost, a route that led to an abandoned city buried beneath the shifting sands. Nasir, with nothing but his instincts and the map, set out on a journey that would change his life forever. He was no longer just a street boy, he had a purpose now. And that purpose was to uncover a secret that had been hidden for centuries. And that is how I last saw him setting off at dawn, his silhouette disappearing into the desert, chasing a destiny greater than any lamp or genie could ever grant him. The story ends with Nasir embarking on a journey into the desert, guided by the ancient map he discovered. Instead of riches from a magical lamp, he finds a greater purpose, seeking a lost city buried beneath the sands. His fate remains unknown, leaving an air of mystery. But the narrator implies that Nasir's adventure was far grander than any wish-granting genie could offer. It's a tale of courage, destiny, and the pursuit of something greater than material wealth.